It all started with riots, dodgy penalties, disallowed goals, and stones being thrown at the ITV studio, although to be fair that might just have been Fred trying to dribble one around the car park. In our house we got into World Cup fever by getting home late, drinking low alcohol beer and wearing the closest things we could find in the wardrobes of Brazil and Croatia shirts. Mexico were also the victims of some dodgy reffing against Cameroon, which their coach didn't see because he was too busy being a baddie in an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. I watched the game on a laptop, went to get a burrito, came back, Mexico had scored. Coincidence? I think not. Brazil ended up struggling through, mainly thanks to Neymar, a man who thoughtfully decided to model his haircut on my pubes. Over in Brazil it rained a lot. My mate West Ham Dan stayed in a hotel where insects came out the tap, tries to join a riot and met her. Oh, and one Cameroon player headbutted another, which is the most passion any of them had shown since they refused to play until they paid more money. Speaking of money, the Ghanaians also refused to train until $3 million was sent in sports bags via a chartered plane. Given that two of their players had already been sent home for assaulting the coach, and the head of their FA had been stung by journalists offering to set up a rigged match. Yep, on the whole, pretty solid World Cup for them. In their group, the Germans battered the Portuguese, who never recovered and went home early. And America fell in love with soccer by making out of the group, and because in Josie Altidore they have one of the best players ever to be named that name. Spain crashed out after getting battered by the Dutch, a game I planned to watch in a tapas bar wearing a Holland top, but which I didn't get into because I got waylaid listening to this guy. Van Persie scored a goal that was dangerous because he would have ended up landing on his stiffy, and I ended up watching it with a group of accountants who'd recently qualified in something. The Dutch beat the Australians despite a KO goal that was so good Bouncer exploded, and Spain lost to Chile after more mistakes by Casillas. 6 midfielders? Try 6 goalkeepers next time, you losers. Belgium scored a load of late goals and won the group. Algeria thumped South Korea and needed a draw against Russia to go through, and only got one after a fan waved a laser in the goalie's face. A move that will ultimately see Russia waving real lasers over most of Algeria's major cities over the coming months. England fans got increasingly overconfident in Manaus, which led the entire country to mistakenly believe that Raheem Sterling had scored when he clearly hadn't. Roy's boys did their best against Italy and still lost, mainly because their best is absolutely fucking shit. Then lost to Uruguay and their injured striker, who managed to outpace 2 uninjured defenders, which shouldn't have happened given they'd been drinking individually tailored sports drinks. And the great underachievers were out again. Suarez soon followed our brave boys home after sinking his teeth into Cellini's shoulder, causing the ITV panel to unite in their condemnation of foul play, which is a bit rich given they have all at some point worked with Roy Keane. France just crossed the line against Honduras, who based their tackling on the opening minutes of Saving Private Ryan, and Deschamps and co went on to thrash Switzerland, scoring so often the ref got bored and blew up in the middle of a goal. Messi finally discovered his World Cup feat. Iran and Nigeria reminded us after a sumptuous buffet of tasty football there comes an inevitable bout of violent diarrhoea, and West Ham Dan went to the beach and was in a pub that got stormed by a bunch of Brazilian thugs. And they say we've got the problem. Oh, and I resorted to cheap visual gags while watching the Colombians, who turned out to be really good in a group where Greece somehow also went through, a development that caused the excellently named Boubacar Barry to burst into tears. And now he feels. It's been emotional. If someone said at the start of this tournament, would you take an entertaining World Cup even if it meant social cleansing, corruption, and having to see Arsene Wenger with no top on, you know what? I would have said yes. Roll on the last 16.